Assalamu alaikum. Hello and welcome to the News and Culture Show with me,
Salam.
Laura Conda, and my co-host Paul. How are you, Paul?
Yeah, alhamdulillah. Lovely to see everyone. Hope everyone's okay.
So the News and Culture Show shares all the latest local news in Luton, as well as arts, culture and events that are happening around the town, so you can go out, get involved and have some fun. On today's show, we've got quite a lot to go through news-wise, but we also have two really special guests. We've got Dr Deepa Choudhury. She's a paediatric and adult allergy specialist, and they're doing an allergy masterclass for families, and that's coming up. And also Fatima from Rosebuds Sisters in Luton, who's going to be talking about their Sunday walk and reflects as well a bit later on in the show. But for now, firstly, I'm just going to cover this very, very, very quickly. There's a by-election tomorrow, Thursday, 4th of September, in the Stopsley ward, which is, I feel like this is very silly to say, but up in Stopsley. So the by-election is taking place due to the death of David Wynne, who was the Lib Dem deputy group leader and the councillor for Stopsley ward. So the candidates are, we've got Edward Carpenter for the Green Party, Jim Cohen for Reform UK, Matt Fry for the Liberal Democrats Focus Team, Mazim Hussain for the Labour Party, Roger Donald Harry Nichols for the Conservative and Unionist Party, and Mark Schiemann. Schiemann, I think probably most people know him around the town as an independent. And yeah, that's it for that bit. Now on to some extremely very sad news. Most of the community will be aware, obviously, of this stabbing that happened at the weekend on Humberstone Road in Luton. It happened at 8 p.m. on Sunday. Sorry. We've decided not to name the person that has unfortunately died as a result of this. I mean, most of the community will know who he is. He's been named quite well. Everyone knows who he is. He's been named locally. We've taken the decision not to name him because the police haven't released it yet. And I just don't, in case family members don't know, because you never know. So we want to keep it quiet. No doubt most of the community, though, do already know who this young gentleman is. He was a very well-loved individual in the community. It's incredibly sad. All round. We don't know what has happened. We shouldn't. The police have asked people not to speculate as to what happened and why that happened. But yeah, two teenagers have now been arrested on suspicion of murder following this young man's death on Sunday evening. He died at hospital, unfortunately. A boy and a girl who are only 17 years old.
Yeah, 17.
Have been taken into custody for questioning. There's no word yet if they what's happened, whether they've been bailed or charged. It's still an ongoing investigation. I think it's really important as well that people shouldn't release the names of these two individuals. We don't know whether they're even going to be charged yet. They may not be involved at all.
Yeah, so at the moment they're being questioned, but they're both under 18, so the press won't be releasing their names.
No, you're not legally allowed to name them until they turn 18. There is a process of, as a journalist, you can go to court and appeal to release their names. But I mean, if they're 17, it won't be very long. By the time it goes, if it does go to court, if they are charged and taken to court, they will probably be 18 by the time that happens. So I'd imagine we would end up knowing their names if I want to make this very clear, if these two individuals are charged. At the minute, they're still in custody being questioned.
Yeah.
But I think, it's really hard. I know we do try and bring some positive news in this thing, but unfortunately, I would love to have a week where we didn't have to report on some sort of violent crime, whether it be a stabbing or, an attempted murder, which we've had probably the last couple of weeks that we've been doing this show.
I think we need to look forward. Sadly, we need to look forward to the colder days where people don't go out. And hopefully there'll be less of this happening.
I hope so, because this is utterly tragic. Yet again, that another man has died as a result of a stabbing in the town. It's it begs the question yet again: what do we do? I think it's really important as a community that we talk openly about this now. I know a lot of people don't like hearing the bad news or hearing about knife crime, or we'll just say, oh, you know, typical Luton, typical whatever. You know, young people have no respect these days, all these things. But
well, I think that what we have to say is it isn't a Luton thing. It's a sadly thing. It's a nationwide thing now. It's just become, sadly, it is becoming the norm everywhere. And the only way we're going to make a change is if we don't brush it under the carpet and we do talk about it more.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to solve this as individuals.
No.
The police on their own are not going to solve this. Remember, crime is a whole community issue, and we only make things better if we have the courage to face the difficulties, talk about them, and try to come up with solutions how we make things better together. And that's the real hope of us covering it like this. That it makes people aware of the difficulties we've got. You know, admit, you know, we do have a problem, and we're only going to solve it together.
Yeah, I don't even know anymore. I think this is a big issue, is that a lot of the community will often say, well, I think as a whole in Luton, we need to say this is a problem across every community. It's not an issue of race. It's not an issue of religion. Everyone is at risk. Everyone can be affected. You know, we have seen people just say, oh, well, it's just gangs. It's just youth that are involved in gangs that this happens to. It doesn't happen to people that are not involved with gangs, or people that are just, you know, wandering about the streets. But we've seen it time and time again. We've seen young people or even older people that have been stabbed to death or been a victim of violent crime, and they had nothing to do with gangs. They had nothing to do with drugs. They were just innocent people, whether it be bystanders in a fight, whether it be people in their own homes that were victims of crime. It's just, we can't brush it under the carpet anymore. We need to take some action as a community and stand together and say, we do not want this anymore. We need to step up. It's not just, you know, community leaders. It should be everyone stepping up and say, we don't want this anymore in our community. And how can we change it? How can we encourage young people to not carry knives? How can we encourage anyone to not carry a knife? Because it's not just young people. There probably are adults that are carrying knives as well. How do we say to people, no more? No more children should have to die. No more adults have to die. No one has to die like this anymore. I think, yeah, it's just...
I mean, the second one we've got. Sadly, there was
another incident.
Yeah, there was a youngster, 17 years old, arrested on Friday evening, just gone, brandishing a shotgun of all things. So officers were called to Lallerford Road, which, if you don't know, is quite near to the airport. And this teenager was also arrested on suspicion of offensive weapon, and also possession of cannabis. And they also found shotgun shells. So this young man was actually, it wasn't just an empty gun. He actually did have the potential to
shoot that gun,
use it. So again, we thank fortune it wasn't used, but it's still a very sad situation.
Yeah, I mean, he's only 17 years old. You know, I think there's this whole concept of there's safe areas and unsafe areas in Luton. I don't think that really exists anymore. It seems that crime is happening kind of all over, and it doesn't matter. I think because people would say, oh, this is Puttridge area that this has happened in. It's quite a safe area. But I think, to be honest, wherever you are, there is no kind of safe areas in Luton per se. I don't know anymore. I'm so wish for the day where we don't have to talk about crime. I feel like I cover it a lot as a journalist. I try to go to court stuff and things like that, and it's just sad. It's just really sad that this is happening, and it's not just here. Like you said, it's all over the country. I mean, this is a 17-year-old boy. Again, it's just shocking. I don't have the words anymore. I'm running out of them. I just, you know, I know that this particularly murder on Humberstone Road has affected so many people in this community. And, it's beyond sad at this point.
Yeah, we just send best wishes and love to the person's family, and at this dark time for them, and hope they're able to get through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, on to, I don't even know if this is slightly better. It's not really. But a property in Luton has been shut down by the courts for drug-related and antisocial behaviour. I mean, it's great for the neighbours, because no doubt they've probably been living through hell, because I think a lot of people that have to live near these houses are desperate to have this sort of thing happens where they're shut down. So nobody other than the tenant of the home in Luton is allowed inside after the court ordered the property to be shut down due to ongoing antisocial behaviour. It's a partial house closure order, for a property in Copenhagen Close, which is in Marsh Farm in Luton.
Yeah, so it allows the landlord, the tenant, healthcare providers, and emergency services are now the only ones that are legally allowed to enter by the magistrate's order. So it's due to complaints that included late night noise, disturbances, large groups gathering outside, intimidating behaviour towards residents, and prolonged periods of barking dogs. This was the Councillor Maria Lovell said that the council's priority antisocial behaviour team successfully secured a partial closure order at Luton Magistrates Court this week, following reports of persistent drug-related antisocial behaviour linked to a property in Copenhagen Close. We want to make it clear that this type of behaviour will not be tolerated, and we will take firm action to ensure residents feel safe in their neighbourhoods.
I hope that the tenant is getting support as well, because often when people see these things, they think that the tenant is involved in this behaviour, and quite a lot of the time with these sort of incidents, it's because these tenants have been cuckooed as well. So if you don't know what cuckooing is, it's where a vulnerable person, sometimes a drug user, sometimes someone with learning difficulties, things like that, their property is taken over by people that perhaps use drugs, perhaps drug dealers, and they use their property and basically turn it into somewhere that they can freely sell drugs and use drugs, and cause a lot of problems for these individuals. Like, half the time they don't want these people in their property. And I hope that, if this has been identified as a person that's been a victim of cuckooing, that they are getting the support they need, because I think it's a really important issue. I think people see these and blame the tenant and think that the tenant's a bad person, but sometimes these tenants are just...
That's interesting, actually. I didn't know this term myself, actually.
Have you not heard of cuckooing?
No. Well, I knew the situation sort of scientifically from what the cuckoo does. Lays its eggs in another bird's nest and throws out the hatching cuckoo bird will throw out the eggs of the nest that's there, and then that forces the birds of the other species then bring up the cuckoo. Yeah. So that's interesting. They use this phrase.
Yeah,
cuckooing. I've not.
They do. They use the term cuckooing. I think not enough is known about cuckooing to most people. If they're, if you don't read a lot of news, or you are not in that probably realm, then you wouldn't know what cuckooing is. There has been some really interesting 24 police custody episodes where they've covered cuckooing, and where they looked at what they do to support the victims. The Bedfordshire Police are very good at it. They are aware of it. But I do think there needs to be more kind of knowledge around cuckooing and what it is, because if you know how to spot it, you can perhaps get these, alert the police a little bit easier and quicker, because no doubt these people, the residents, have been reporting this to perhaps the police, they've been reporting it to the council, and it can be a bit of a vicious circle.
That's an interesting point, because you've just educated me. I didn't know about it. I literally didn't know about it. So all I can say as listeners and those of you watching, if you're having a similar situation, do report it. Maybe your neighbour needs help, and get the authorities can give your neighbour the help and support that they really need if this is going on.
Even if they're a drug user as well, because I think that's the thing, is that a lot of the time when people say, oh, it's a drug user, they, you don't, what do you expect? Realistically, these people are also very vulnerable as well. They might be wanting to get off the drugs, and they're being kept essentially a prisoner in their own home. to the drugs because the drug dealers have taken over or other drug users have come in. And I think it's really important that we as a community look out for these people as well. You know, they can't break the cycle if they have no help and support. And a lot of the time, if they get that help and support, they can break those cycles. So if we as a community say, oh, you know, I've noticed that this neighbour has constantly got elderly people as well, they do get cuckooed too. So if you notice someone constantly, you people around a property, lots of people turning up to a property, antisocial behaviour, drug use, things like that, and you're not sure that your neighbour, if you know your neighbour and you know they're vulnerable, or if you don't know your neighbour, but suddenly lots of people are turning up, hanging around, you're concerned about it, report it to the police, but make sure you use the words, I'm concerned my neighbour's been cuckooed. I think it's really clear because sometimes when you're reporting antisocial behaviour, you know, the police have got a lot to deal with. They might always look at it, but if they see a clear case of cuckooing, they might deal with it a little bit quicker. But hopefully now this resident's getting support if they are being a victim of cuckooing. And hopefully, you know, it's a much better environment for the other people that live in the area because, you know, having to live with this kind of thing is really difficult and really horrible because you should be able to feel safe in your own home, especially since allegedly some of them were intimidating other residents as well. But yeah. This one is a bit of it's a tough one. So there's been heartbreak to local residents who have started because work has started on.
Oh, you're talking about the boundary dispute, aren't you?
The Wandon Park, yeah.
So is this boundary change happening? It is happening. It isn't. Yeah, it's just.
Yeah. So the issue is that. So basically, what has happened is Wandon Park is up in Puttridge area. If you're not familiar with the area, it's very close to the Hertfordshire border, extremely close. Because, like, for example, Puttridge High School, part of it's actually in Hertfordshire, the school, because it's so close to the border. So some of the Puttridge High School is actually in Hertfordshire. But yeah, up there is very tight. This is a really kind of green space that's in the middle of like this housing estate. It's a lovely little space. It's been used very regularly by the community. They use it a lot of children go there.
That's the one with the walking track round, is that the one you're
That's
talking
the
about?
new bit that they've built to replace it. So there is a walking track around it, but the current park, but now obviously they are starting construction work because Luton Borough Council sold the park to Fox.
The whole thing?
Not the whole thing. So they sold part of Wandon Park. So they've opened up a new bit at the back where they've put in a new play area. They've put in a new walking trail. It's very nice. They've done a really good job on it. However, they have sold part of the park that was really well used by the community to their company, the council's company that runs their council homes. So Foxhall Housing.
Oh, I see.
Foxhall Homes, sorry.
Yep.
They've sold it to them to build houses on. And this is where the dispute lies, is a lot of the residents were very angry at this. They didn't want to lose their park. They loved it. It was well used. It wasn't like it was a green space. It wasn't, I mean, to be honest, I don't think there's many green spaces in Luton that aren't well used because we are quite limited.
So how many homes are they proposing on building?
I can't remember. I feel like 60 home development. So, and these, I believe, are going to be council houses, which is where the issue lies because Luton Borough Council desperately needs housing stock. However, the problem is that in Luton, we are very limited in our space because we are bordered by other counties. So, for example, just north of Luton is Central Beds, and then to the south is Hertfordshire. So, for example, here, if they expanded out into Hertfordshire, what will happen is the council tax will go to Hertfordshire County Council. The money would go to the residents would pay council tax to Hertfordshire County Council.
Oh, I see. Right.
But Luton Borough Council, they'd be using their services. So they'd be using the doctors as Luton Borough Council in Luton. They'd be using the schools in Luton. So the Luton Borough Council loses out on money from expanding Luton out into central Bedfordshire and Hertfordshire. So which is why they're trying to build on park areas, because it saves them money. means they've still got the money getting in. There's so many.
So are we not allowed to have a little bit of urban sprawl? We can't buy some of the neighbouring land.
No, so
that wouldn't change the border. Of course,
it wouldn't change the border.
Change the border, would it?
It wouldn't change the border, and
of course, yeah,
the problem that Luton Borough Council has is they do have agreements with other councils to where if it's outside. So, for example, part of Bushmead is actually in central Bedfordshire.
Is it?
I didn't know that either until a few years ago. But part of Bushmead is in central Bedfordshire. So some of the residents there will pay council tax to Central Bedfordshire Council. Their bins are picked up by Central Beds.
Okay.
No, I'm not joking.
So
it's the tiny bit of Bushmead is actually in Central Bedfordshire.
So we've got the refuse lorries probably coming all the way up from somewhere
like
close to Bedford.
Yeah.
To empty the bins
in Luton.
in Bushmead in Luton.
No, I'm not. I wish I was joking. I'm not. It's a very small part of Bushmead. I think it's a very small part. But yeah, it is. There's a whole issue surrounding this to do with the council and whether they get the sort of money that they get off these other councils. Luton, as far as I'm aware, for quite some time has always been a unitary authority, which means it runs itself. Essentially, it's not part of a county council.
Yeah, I've often wondered. I came to live here in 1998, and I've always found that really confusing. You look at the map where Bedfordshire is and Dunstable, and you've got this big council authority, and then you've got this little island
of Luton. It's changed now because
all on its own. I've got to say, actually, I've never really understood that. I find that really quite confusing.
It changed about I want to say 10, 15 years ago, maybe, when obviously Bedfordshire District Council ceased to exist, and every single authority in Bedfordshire is now a unitary authority. So you've got Luton Borough Council, Central Bedfordshire Council, Bedford Borough Council. So every single county, there's no county council anymore. There's no such thing. It doesn't exist. So you now have 3 separate unitary authorities. Plus you've got Hertfordshire as well, because part of Luton sometimes encroaches on Hertfordshire too. So it's a bit of a mess. It makes it complicated because these people will be living in Luton, but they'll be paying their council tax to another area. Luton Borough Council won't be getting the money. There's also the added issue of the lack of housing in Luton. That's the problem, is that because this is be council houses, and that there's people waiting desperately on the housing register in Luton anyway. And then you have the additional issue.
Yeah, because we spoke about that recently. About, I think it was 31% of the rental stock is privately owned in Luton.
It is, and the other issue is that London Borough Councils. Now, a lot of people don't know this. A lot of London Borough Councils have begun leasing out flat properties in Luton.
Oh, right.
So a lot of these flat developments that you see in town, you'll see people coming out of them, and people assume that it's temporary housing. For Luton Council residents, it's not. It's for London Borough Councils that have rented out these flat developments.
And they're moving the residents from
London to Luton. But the problem is that people don't know this, is after 3 years of living in Luton, the London Borough Council can go, not a problem anymore. Now Luton Borough Council's problem to house them. Oh. So then this becomes an issue, because obviously...
And I assume they keep those properties to carry on doing what they've been doing.
They carry on what they've
previous 3 years, and then we've got to pick up these.
We've got to pick up the pieces.
But we haven't got the housing stock.
We haven't got the housing stock for the Luton residents that desperately need council housing. So then it's a vicious circle of they've now got even more people on the housing register. It's really difficult to keep up. They desperately need to build more houses. They can't build more houses realistically within the borough because there's a very big lack of space in Luton. We are quite tight now, so it ends up with building on places like Wandon Park, which is really sad, because it is like, I've been there quite a lot. My kids go to school up that way. We go there quite a lot after school. It's a really nice little area. The kids at Puttridge tend to walk home through it. It's quite safe. They do the picnics in the park. They do other events up there. It's been a really, the community has really gone together to make sure.
It's a really nice place. I occasionally go up there walking with my wife.
Oh,
it's a really nice place.
It's a lovely place. Yeah. And I think it's really sad because in all fairness, the council have created this new park just north, kind of like the other side. Again, I think that's now in Hertfordshire, that bit of the park, which is even funnier. But they've done a good job on it. They've really put in a lot of money to invest in this area. But obviously, it's really sad for the residents because they really, really enjoy it. And the whole issue came around the people that were doing picnic on the park. They were going to do it on 31st of August. They put in planning, like event permission for it from Luton Borough Council. Luton Borough Council said, actually, you can't do it because building work is imminent.
Yeah.
And then,
so of course they cancelled all of the bookings and presumably people coming to sell food there. And then a few days later, after they got the cancellation notice, the council changed their mind and said, no, you can do it. It's back on. But of course, then there was no time for them to
put everything together,
put everything together again and get the people that they'd organised to come in to help run it. It wasn't possible with such short time, so it couldn't happen.
And then the next day, they started building work. So it's begun.
The diggers are in, apparently.
The diggers are in.
I suppose pragmatic. I suppose we have to say now the diggers are in.
There's not a lot.
It is what we is. We just have to wish the council every success and hope that the housing that is built is going to be lovely and it's a good success for who's going to live
those
there.
People that need the housing, unfortunately.
And I suppose we just have to just say I'm sorry for the people that have been upset. And it's one of those situations where you've got a massive need that the council needs to do something, and then they haven't got a choice because of limited facilities. And it's one of those situations. It's impossible to please everybody. It really is. I mean, it's going to create a lot of joy for the people that it's going to give housing to, but then the loss of the land where people use it for pleasure activities, of course, they're going to feel it's a big loss. But
it is. It's a shame, but it's sad. But yeah, oh my God, we've been so busy. Nearly at the break. Just quickly, I want to mention about these mental health benches that they've installed very quickly. So Luton Borough Council have put in these 2 mental health benches designed to improve mental health, enhance community wellbeing and support families and communities coping with grief and loss. It's a project by a former councillor and a couple of mental health group, former mayor of Luton, Tamia Salim and Salim, and a couple of other people from mental health groups. They've been involved. One of them is in Leagrave Park. It's for the family of Julian Fulker, and Carl and Gazelle, who were murdered, unfortunately, by their brother and
the Prosper family.
Yeah, the Prosper family.
Yeah.
And then there's another bench that's been put in at Lewisy Park for Miss Fatima Islam, well known in the community she was a legendary community activist right up until her death. She was a fantastic woman. And I think these benches they've got QR codes with tributes and mental health support as well. So if you're in a bad place, please do make your way down to these benches and you can find support there that the council can offer you.
An interesting thing here is because it's about helping the community, you'll see a QR code there on these benches. And if you use that QR code, it'll take you to a link where it'll give you pointers where you can go to get essential mental health support. So there is a big positive with these benches. So if you see the benches and you see the QR code is to give you mental health support if you need it. So try and remember that, listeners.
That's all for this off. We'll be back after the break. We've got 2 amazing guests on. We've got Dr Deepa Choudhury and Fatima from Rosebuds Sisters, Luton, to talk about the events that they've got going on next week. But see you after the break. Assalamu alaikum.
Get Luton prayer and Jamaat times for your local masjid on your phone. Download the Inspire FM app. Available for free on the App Store or Google Play.
Welcome back to the News and Culture Show with me, Laura Conda. Paul is not here with me, unfortunately, because I'm interviewing these guests at a little different time when he's not available. But he'll be, you would have seen him earlier in the show when we talked about the news. So the News and Culture Show is all about the latest news in Luton, culture, arts and events that are happening around the town. So you can go out, have fun and get involved. Joining us now, I've got a fantastic guest. She is Dr Deepa Choudhury, and she is a paediatric and adult allergy specialist. And she's going to be talking about an event they're holding in St Andrew's Church as part of Equality PCN. They're holding a allergy masterclass for families. Good morning, Dr Choudhury. How are you?
Hello, good morning, Laura. I'm very good and excited to be here.
I'm very excited to have you. So do you want to explain a little bit about what's planned for this event?
Sure. Let me just introduce myself as well. So my name is Dr. Deepa Choudhury, and I work as a pediatric allergist in Buckinghamshire NHS Healthcare Trust. And I've also worked in one of the world's largest allergy tertiary centers in Cambridge, in Addenbrooke's Hospital as an adult allergist. And yes, originally I trained as a GP and also work in primary care in private and NHS GP land, but with my primary responsibilities focused on allergy. And I have a deep passion for allergy as a patient myself, and I'm also a parent of an allergic child. So I've lived through the pains, the struggles, the challenges, and I've also seen patients in GP land, in hospitals, in higher tertiary centers. So the time has come where I really want to empower patients. I do want to spread the message. So what I'll be covering that day, obviously we've just got 2 hours that day, and allergy is quite a big topic, but I want to cover on, firstly, I would be covering on basics of how to recognize allergy, when it is a problem, when you should be going to your doctors, and so the recognition of it. Then the tests, what sort of tests are needed? First of all, are they needed at all? Are these tests regulated? Should they be done? What do they mean? That sort of thing, a little bit of a fundamental, should you be spending lots of money and doing lots of panels and lots of tests at all? Or is this something that we can sort out, in a sensible way? So the recognition side of things, I'll cover the basics of recognition. Adults and pediatrics, it's the same for children and for adults. I will also cover a bit about how to manage allergies. So allergy management, a lot depends on recognizing it well and having these prevention strategies in place. Yes, there are lots of Instagram feeds, there's leaflets, there's websites, but I hope to conglomerate everything and bring it into a gist which you can take back. You go home, you enter your home and you're thinking, yes, this is what I can do. And that's what I want. Practical take-home points which we can do. So on that note, I will be covering on some prevention measures of allergens that are there inside the home, what impact they have on asthma and what can be done. That, and finally, I will also cover some new research studies that can shape up our lives and help prevention, and some new treatments which are coming up. Finally, I think my vision for Luton is to set up an allergy service in the community, which can be offered in the NHS. That's my dream come true. And having trained originally in Luton, I am indebted to the community of Luton and, of course, patients all over. That's me in a snapshot, if that gives you an idea of what I will be covering that day.
I would be ecstatic if that could happen, because I myself suffer with very severe allergy asthma that I've developed in the last 2 years, and I'm having to go to clinics in all over the place. I'm trying to get on biologics. It's not fun at all. It's a big job. And I think it'd be really interesting. I definitely am going to go down myself and find out about these new treatments, because it sounds really interesting that there's possibilities. Because I think a lot of people perceive allergies as life-threatening anaphylaxis, and they don't often see that asthma is often a different type of life-threatening allergy as well. Often, what kind of things can what kind of new treatments are there for these allergies then?
Yeah, so I think the new treatments range between depend on the type of allergy, and also, so the treatments that I am looking at to explain a bit more about would be the desensitization treatments. So for peanut, we have a desensitization treatment, which is being offered privately and under the NHS. I think some understanding and knowledge about this would be good to know, what is out there. Secondly, one of the treatments has been already, being given to patients for a long time now, which is the immunotherapy treatments for house dust mite, for pollen. Who is it for? What are we to expect? The practical aspects of this. One of the treatments has recently, been made regulated as part of NICE, so it can be given to children above 12 years of age, the house dust mite immunotherapy, and it can change lives. So why not? So it is time that we understand it a bit more. You were talking about biologics, when I worked in Cambridge, I led these biologic clinics for difficult asthma. So biologics are also moving on. We've got biologics for everything. We've got biologics for difficult eczema. We've got biologics for difficult asthma, you name it, and we have treatments. Now, they are expensive treatments. So what we as patients, as sufferers need to know, when is the time to actually raise a concern or try and ask the doctors dealing with us, is there something more than steroids? Is there something that we need to do more here? And as doctors, we will, of course, make that decision with yourselves to see whether you're an ideal candidate. So there are treatments like omalizumab, which is given for, people who have difficult hives that don't get better with steroid treatments. We also have for asthma treatments like mepolizumab and dupilumab. These are all cutting-edge new treatments that they've been used quite a lot before UK got involved with this. In Europe, it was already being used. But in the UK, because we are NHS and we are, our funds are controlled sensibly. So there is a case for a few patients who will be eligible, and they do improve. So the biologics can be talked about. But what I would say is I'm very open to answering your specific questions. So do come prepared with your questions, your cases, and I'll be more than happy to walk through you as to what the next steps would be to help you in a better way. And I think finally, like I said, this research territory of allergy is changing a lot. Gone are those days where, patients said, you've got an allergy. Just take some antihistamines and that'll be it. So that era is changing very rapidly. There is one step even after this peanut immunotherapy, that I mentioned, the new treatment. Currently, there is more stuff that's being researched, like patches and things. So there is a lot. I can talk endlessly. This is an area that is very close to heart, and I do want that as patients, as communities, as families, we feel strong and able to deal with it in the right way.
What would your advice be? Because some people might know that or suspect that they have an allergy, but they've gone to their GP, and perhaps their GP, I'm not saying that you would, but because you seem like a very competent, but sometimes GPs people don't feel like they are listened to by their GP. What would be your advice if they're going to them, they're asking for referrals, they're not getting them?
Yes, and exactly this that led me to develop the guideline for primary care along with the national guideline for anaphylaxis. I worked on this guideline nationally with my colleague, Dr. Liz Engier, to actually outline, the anaphylaxis guidance, how many auto-injectors need to be carried, how do GPs need to assess these patients. So that guideline was released in 2023. if I'm accurate about the release, and it was published as well. My answer to your question is, firstly, I feel primary care needs to be a bit more aware of what is happening. And yes, GP colleagues are very overwhelmed, and they are, now getting more aware. So GP awareness is key. I'm more than happy in helping with that locally if there is a need to do that. Secondly, from the patient perspective, I think as a patient, the first key thing is that we need to look after ourselves. We need to be well informed. So identifying ourselves and knowing that, yes, these are the concerns. Yes, I've got a baby who is crying all night, who is not responding to Gaviscon, and who is having severe eczema. My baby is 6 months old, not responding to these treatments. What else could be wrong? And then putting that thought into the head, because not all GPs have got an expert knowledge of everything. It's as GPs, we're jack of all trades. So giving that little hint in that 10-minute consultation saying that this is what I'm concerned. Additionally, I want to say, when we do pediatric training, there is one thing that's taught to doctors. Do listen to the parental concern. Parents do know about their children, so we do need to have that hearing ear to them. And so when you go for your GP appointment, go prepared, say with the concerns. And yes, there is no harm in putting that thought into the head. Doctor, I think I'm concerned that my child has cow's milk allergy. And I think that because I have a history of asthma, my other child had eczema. So there are some clues that point someone to the direction of, could this be allergy? And secondly, that there is still, and a lot depends on your doctor-patient relationship. Some doctors are open to having that open chat, with you. All right, you're concerned. So what next can we do to help? Now, talking about referrals. So currently, nationally, allergy, even when I worked in Cambridge, patients waited for a year or to see us by the time they came to us. I think that territory is changing as well. We are very soon going to have a middle person, like a GP with special interests, who's possibly going to be dealing with these referrals, which will make some difference to the referral times. And lastly, I want to say, a lot can be done in GP land before sending a patient to the experts for further treatment. And that relies on good recognition of symptoms and good management. And thirdly, if there is a patient with a severe allergic reaction, whilst the referral is being waited on, whilst the patient is waiting for the specialist, it's very important for the GP to prescribe the auto-injectors, the pens, so that once they've seen the specialist, then the decision can finally be made on whether or not. I think I've been talking too much, but I want to say that the key message actually is to GP colleagues and primary care healthcare professionals who are seeing patients. It's very difficult to be allergic. It's very difficult for us to express ourselves and to be felt serious, because it's one of those things that's just brushed off. Oh, it's just an allergy. And it's time that we do come out, talk about our symptoms, and manage them well.
So do you want to explain when, where, and what people can do to come to this allergy masterclass for families?
All right. So did I catch that correct? What, when, and where?
Where, yeah.
Yeah, so the allergy masterclass is happening at St. Andrew's Church in Luton, and it starts at 10, and the masterclass will last a couple of hours. As I said, I hope to have a Q&A session in the end. Please do come. It's a free event, and we'll try and, cater it yourselves. I don't want it to be a presentation with slides. I want it to be a discussion, a helpful discussion. I want you to change your lives. So I think what would have helped me is the community that's coming to let me know what you want me to talk about, and I will talk about that and take you further from there. But yes, as I said, I do have a structure which I will follow, but I'm very happy to taper it according to the needs of the audience that comes along there. And I will cover adult and pediatric topics. There is a confluence. There's some topics which are quite common. I did forget to mention, I will talk about some of the very important points to keep in mind before a very severe allergic reaction happens. What are those tips that you need to keep in mind? What are those tips when you're traveling? What are those tips when you go in eating in restaurants? So some of those practical things I will cover. And so that by the end of leaving that hall, you should feel at least a little comfortable about a few things. And then, yes, there's lots more, and happy to talk more.
So if you do want the community want to let you kind of know beforehand what they want to hear from you, how is it best for them to get in contact? Is it a quality PCN that they should contact?
Yeah, I think at the moment I'm not so social media active, but I do have a LinkedIn profile titled as Dr. Deepa Choudhury. And I think, yeah, you can contact me. I think very, very soon I will create an Instagram account if that's easier for patients to connect. So I will be doing that in the next 24 to 48 hours. And then you can connect there. I think I want this to be helpful. I don't want this to be a namesake talk. I do want to know what you want to hear, and I will talk what you would like to hear and how we change your lives. That is what I would like to do. So yes, please connect, and I will take some tips from Jasna as to how I get the social media thing active.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jasna is fantastic on social media. She's always there, always sending stuff in. She's fantastic. So yeah, 9th of September, that's next Tuesday, 10 a.m. till roughly 12 p.m. St Andrew's Church in Luton. That's in the Biscot area. You can meet Dr. Deepa Choudhury, and
it's Deepa, Dr. Deepa Choudhury.
Deepa, sorry, I think someone's misspelled it. I apologize. But you can meet Dr. Deepa Choudhury, and she seems like an extremely informed lady doctor, and I think it'll be fantastic. And I hope to join you myself and find out more. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll share your social media handles once you have them.
Sure. Thank you so much, Laura. It was lovely talking to you.
Joining us now is two very special sisters who are part of Rosebuds Sisters Luton. They have been on Sister Samiza's show before, so if you might have seen them before, or you might have seen them all over social media, they put on some fantastic, amazing events for sisters across Luton. So joining me now is Fatima and Sahila from Rosebuds Sisters Luton. Assalamu alaikum, ladies.
Walaikum salam. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
For having us.
Thank you. So do you want to tell us a little bit about the event you've got coming up this Sunday?
Yeah, so I'll let Saliha take over, but we're, of course, the people in Luton. A lot of people have heard of Rosebud Sisters here, and the idea behind Rosebud Sisters is to just get the ladies in the community, whether you're Muslim or not, just to try to eradicate loneliness. And we do it through different means, whether it's brunches, lunches, halakas, Islamic circles, or walks that we've got going, restarting this Sunday with Sister Saliha. So I'll hand it over to Sister Saliha to let everybody know what she plans to do and how she's going to go about doing the walk, inshallah.
Yes, thank you. So I'm Saliha, and just very briefly, I sort of have a background in sort of well-being work. So I've done it for many years, and it's always been something I'm very passionate about. So I sort of got in touch with Fatima and sort of mentioned to her about my sort of suggestion just to start a women's walking group. She said actually there's already one that has been going on, so I was quite keen to kind of promote more so our older aunties to join as well as young, all sisters are welcome, all women are welcome. But yeah, just to really encourage, more movement, a bit more social connection. So we're going to begin with this Sunday the 7th of September. 10:30 till 11:30 at Wardown Park. We'll meet there by the bandstand, and we're just encouraging all women to join. They can register with us through dropping a message on our number, and really, yeah, just welcome to join and just connect with others and move more.
Yeah,
sorry. Yeah, you go first.
No, I was just going to say, if there's anyone who wants to find out the information, you can follow us on Instagram at Rosebuds Luton, where you'll find all the details of all of our future events, including this walk that's coming up on Sunday.
That's amazing. So this walk is open to non-Muslim sisters as well.
Yeah. Any and all women.
That's amazing. So with the walk, is it a kind of everyone's walking together at the same sort of pace, or is it a kind of case of if someone wants to walk a little bit faster, they can do? What's the kind of plan for it?
With walks, we generally the rule is with group walks to always keep at the pace of the person who's walking at the slowest pace, so that everyone's included. Hopefully, as the group grows, we can always adapt that. So if there are some walkers who want to walk a bit faster, that's an option. We can always have someone at the front to kind of lead the faster walkers, and at the back for anyone who wants to take a slower pace. And that's totally fine. We're not racing here. We really want everyone to feel like they can come out, and that's precisely why we're really encouraging anyone with, even if they have health issues, mobility issues, to come and join, because we don't want all these different reasons to be barriers for people not joining. We want to quite our objective is quite the opposite, as in any barriers anyone might have, we want them to sort of overcome them and join. So even if they're wheelchair users, if they use any mobility aids, that's perfectly fine. As part of the registration process, we do ask that people share with us if they have any such needs, so that we can be a bit more accommodating and supportive.
Inshallah. Just out of interest, is I've forgotten the question instantly. Oh my. What was I going to say? It's actually gone from my head. Oh, that was it. What is the benefit of walking? How important is it to go out and have a walk?
So, walking, as we all know, is very good for the blood circulation. It's good for mental well-being. It's, there's so many benefits. Actually, as we speak, I've gone blank. I had lots of reasons in my mind, but it's an all-rounder sort of, a low-impact sort of exercise. It's not tough. It's something you can do at your own pace. And it's just good. It's just good all around, to be honest. Get the blood pumping.
And doing it as a group. Yeah, exactly. And doing it as a group, I think, is great. Like you mentioned about mental health, for companionship, just to chit chat. And we had before the summer holidays, we had our last walk with another sister who was leading our walks. Unfortunately, she's had to step down. And we've got Sister Saliha now in. But she mentioned how there was a sister who'd had her mother just recently had passed away, and she really needed that walk and that company just to, get the stress off her head and just have someone to talk to. So things like that, really, I feel like is so beneficial if people come out and it's a safe space. We're there as women supporting other women to talk. Sometimes it's easier to talk to a stranger than it is to talk to your close family and friends. It will be a great space for women to just come out and stress relief, or just have a good time, or make new friends. And that's what it's all about, really.
How important is sisterhood in the community?
How important is it for the community?
Sisterhood in general, for the community, whether it's Muslim or non-Muslim.
Well, women are so powerful we can multitask like crazy. It's amazing the things that we cope with, that we put up with, and we keep fighting and battling. And, even if we're feeling down or we're ill, you have to still continue. Especially some of us who are mums, the struggles we go through on a day-to-day to keep the household running. There's no time to sit down and lay back and, feel unwell. You just knock back some paracetamols and you carry on, So it's sisterhood. I feel like it's so important to get together sometimes you just want to talk. Sometimes, when I feel like in our community, there can be, like too much competition, rivalry, backbiting. There's a lot of things that go on that's negative. But when we band together and stand together, shoulder to shoulder, we're powerful. We're unstoppable, honestly. There's another group of sisters, young sisters, who are doing things within Luton. They had an event in Baklava Company just recently and done a games night, which I was supposed to go to. But I love that. I am all for supporting other groups because we need more of it. I'm not sitting back there thinking, oh, why are they doing this? I'm so happy for them. And I love that there's more people out there creating an environment of sisterhood, supporting one another. So I'm all for it. So we need that. And it is so important because, sisters will feel a sense of belonging and just that confidence in each other. And just help sisters come out of their shells. Maybe I'll let Saleh have some space to say something.
No, you've said really valuable points. I would pretty much echo the same. And I think I'm thinking a lot more at the moment. I've just got older sisters in my mind. When I say sisters, I mean like aunts, grandmas. And I think, that generation of women have worked so hard all their life. It's always like their life is very much surrounded by a sense of duty and responsibility. And I just feel like they really need to be encouraged to just chill and like have no particular purpose other than just to go out for a walk. I know it sounds all very obvious and might be oversimplified, but honestly, I don't think sometimes, because when you compare someone whose life revolves around service to others or doing something very important or serious, a walk might sound like, oh, I haven't got time for that. But that's because they've never really made time for such important things, it really is impacting their health, both physically and mentally, and I would say spiritually too, because our bodies have a right over us. Allah has given our health our body as a trust from Him, and so neglecting that element of health where you need to make time intentionally, I think is really important and can't be overlooked. And I think in the grand scheme of things, it seems like something that's not very important to many of the elders. But I think that's where I feel like we need to, as daughters, granddaughters, nieces, encourage our elder women to just take a bit of time out and actually make some new friends. There are women who've moved to this town, might be new, they might want to meet and connect with new people, they might be quite lonely. And I would also point out that it doesn't matter if they don't speak English. Someone amongst us will speak the language that they do speak. And if they don't, we'll make sure we find someone who can join to be able to speak their language, because walking, you don't really need to have, we speak the language of love. That's the first thing I will say. And with that, I'm sure we'll find a way to connect. And also, we'll connect through tea as well. You can't be British without having tea. So we'll encourage everyone to have, we'll encourage everyone to bring their own flasks of tea, and I'll also go equipped with some as well.
Just quickly as well, I want to touch on the fact that Rosebud Sisters has a brunch coming up. Sis Fatima, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so on the 13th of September, we actually have a sisters brunch coming up. at My Lounge, or sorry, Me Lounge on Biscot Road. And it starts from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. And it's just basically, we'll have our own space, just ladies. The staff will be women, and it'll be just a bunch of girls having a good time, having a nice brunch, nice food, nice drinks, and yeah, just a lot of banter, chit chat, get together, just socializing, really, just have a good time. So I look forward to seeing everyone. And the way that you can register on the flyer, you'll notice that there's a phone number on there. If you just get into contact with the sister on the flyer, she will go through the registration process with you. So yeah, I look forward to seeing everyone.
That's fantastic. So this Sunday, 7th of September, 10:30 a.m. at Waldown Park Bandstand. Is that correct? The walk?
That's right.
The Sisters Brunch is on Sunday. No, not Sunday. The 13th of September, Saturday, 12 till 3 p.m. Me Lounge in this office, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Thank you so much, Jazakallah, both of you, for coming on and talking about everything that Rosebuds Sisters are doing. It's definitely worth giving them a follow on Instagram. They've got so much going on. You definitely need to go out and join something if you're a sister out there in Luton.
Thank you so much for
having me.
So that's all for the News and Culture show today. Thank you for joining us. Join us again next week, where we'll have all the latest news from Luton, arts, culture, and events from around the town. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.